What happens when life loses its shape? At first, nothing seems wrong. Days are full, responsibilities are handled, life moves forward. But slowly, structure dissolves. Mornings blur into nights, roles overlap, time loses its edges. The dissolution is so gradual that it never announces itself as a problem. It arrives as flexibility, as openness, as the removal of constraints that once felt unnecessary. People welcome it, even seek it out, believing that fewer boundaries will lead to a richer experience. They do not realize that the boundaries they are shedding were performing a function far deeper than convenience. Researchers studying aging began to notice this pattern long before disease appeared. People whose lives lacked clear shape aged faster, even when habits looked healthy. The difference was not behavior, it was form. The discovery challenged the prevailing assumption that health outcomes are determined primarily by what people do. It suggested that how life is organized, the temporal and structural container in which activity takes place, matters just as much as the activity itself. This insight was unsettling precisely because it pointed to something that most health advice ignores entirely: the architecture of daily life, the invisible scaffolding that gives each day its rhythm and each week its arc. To understand why this matters, we need to look at how the body interprets structure. Clear beginnings and endings signal safety. They tell the nervous system when to engage and when to rest. When those signals fade, biology stays alert. The body evolved in a world of natural rhythms, day and night, seasons, the cadence of effort and rest imposed by physical labor. Those rhythms were not optional. They were the framework within which every biological process was calibrated. Remove the framework, and the processes continue, but without the timing cues that allow them to function at their best. Life without shape is not chaotic. It is continuous. Tasks bleed together. Work never fully ends. Rest never fully begins. The body adapts by remaining partially activated. The activation is subtle enough to escape notice, but it is persistent enough to prevent the deep recovery that maintenance and repair require. Over time, this partial activation becomes the new baseline, and the body loses its memory of what full disengagement once felt like. This constant middle state proved corrosive. Stress hormones flattened, sleep lost depth, recovery never fully completed. Aging accelerated quietly, without obvious strain. The damage was not the kind that produces symptoms. It was the kind that narrows margins, reducing the body's capacity to absorb unexpected challenge and recover from ordinary wear. The narrowing was invisible until something pushed the system beyond its reduced capacity, and then it appeared suddenly, as if decline had arrived overnight. What made this especially dangerous was familiarity. Shapeless lives felt normal, productive, even successful. Few recognized the biological cost until resilience was already gone. The cost was hidden beneath functionality, visible only in the quiet acceleration of markers that most people never thought to measure. Researchers realized that longevity depends not just on what fills life, but on how life is divided. Without chapters, the body cannot close cycles. And without closure, repair is postponed indefinitely. The metaphor of chapters is not merely literary. It reflects a biological reality. The body processes experience in segments, and when those segments are not clearly defined, the processing stalls. Each unfinished segment occupies biological resources that remain allocated, waiting for a conclusion that the shapeless day never provides. When life loses its shape, time does not stop. It compresses. And biology begins responding as if the future has become uncertain. That moment when structure quietly dissolves is often when aging truly begins to accelerate. As scientists mapped this loss of shape, they found it often followed success. Careers stabilized, skills mastered, external pressures eased, life became smoother. The transitions that had once imposed structure Promotions, relocations, new challenges became less frequent, and with their departure, the natural punctuation of experience faded. Paradoxically, this was when biological decline often accelerated. Without clear transitions, days blended together. The nervous system lost markers of completion. The sameness that felt like mastery was experienced by the body as ambiguity, a state in which the signals that distinguish effort from rest became indistinguishable. In structured lives, effort rises and falls. Projects begin and end. Roles change with ceremony. In shapeless lives, everything continues. Nothing concludes. The difference is not about busyness. It is about form, about whether experience is organized into units that the body can process or flows as an undifferentiated stream. The stream may carry the same content, but the body cannot extract the same meaning from it. This difference mattered biologically. Completion allows stress to resolve. Without it, vigilance lingers. Repair waits for an ending that never comes. The body does not know how to repair during an experience that has not concluded, because repair is a between state, a process that occupies the space between one chapter and the next. Researchers observed that individuals with highly flexible schedules aged faster than those with firmer boundaries. Freedom without structure created ambiguity. The body remained alert, uncertain when it could stand down. The flexibility that felt liberating to the conscious mind was experienced by the nervous system as unpredictability, and unpredictability triggers vigilance. Attempts to add structure artificially often failed. Calendars filled, routines imposed. But without meaningful endings, the shape remained soft. The structures were cosmetic rather than functional, organizing time without providing the quality of closure that the body recognizes. A calendar full of appointments is not the same as a life with chapters. Appointments mark when something begins. Chapters mark when something is truly finished. What restored shape was not busyness. It was punctuation, clear stops, clear transitions, signals that something was truly done. The punctuation did not need to be dramatic. It needed to be definitive, a boundary that the body could detect and respond to. When these appeared, biology responded quickly. Sleep deepened. Stress markers dropped. Aging slowed. The speed of the response indicated that the body had not been damaged by shapelessness so much as disoriented by it, and that the restoration of form was enough to allow recovery processes to re-engage. This revealed a difficult truth. Longevity is not protected by filling time. It is protected by shaping it. And when shape disappears, time itself becomes harder for the body to interpret. The conflict sharpens when shapelessness is mistaken for freedom. Modern life promises autonomy, flexible hours, blurred boundaries, work that can happen anywhere, anytime. The promise is appealing to the conscious mind, which values choice and resents constraint. On the surface, this feels liberating. But biologically, ambiguity is expensive. The nervous system evolved to read clear signals. When those signals disappear, vigilance becomes the default. The body does not experience freedom the way the mind does. It experiences the absence of structure as the absence of information, and it responds to missing information with heightened alertness. Researchers noticed that people living without firm temporal boundaries showed higher baseline stress, even when they reported feeling relaxed. Their bodies stayed prepared, scanning for the next demand. The gap between subjective experience and physiological reality was one of the most consistent findings. People felt free, while their bodies felt uncertain. This disconnect meant that the very people most at risk were the least likely to seek change, because their conscious experience gave them no reason to suspect a problem. This constant readiness suppressed repair. Inflammation lingered, sleep cycles fractured. Aging markers advanced earlier than expected. The suppression was not caused by any single stressor. It was caused by the absence of the signal that would have allowed the body to stand down. Attempts to reclaim shape often focused on productivity hacks, better schedules, more efficient routines. But efficiency did not restore boundaries. It compressed them further. The tools designed to reclaim time often consumed it differently, filling the spaces that would have served as recovery intervals with additional tasks. What worked instead was constraint. Fixed endpoints, non-negotiable stops, times when nothing could follow. The constraints were not punitive, they were informative, communicating to the nervous system that a segment of experience had concluded and that recovery was now permitted. These constraints were not restrictive, they were clarifying. They told the body when effort was complete. When that clarity returned, biology softened. Stress responses regained contrast. Recovery deepened. Aging slowed. The conflict, then, is not between freedom and structure. It is between ambiguity and clarity. Longevity suffers when life loses its edges. And in cultures that prize flexibility above all else, those edges are often the first thing to disappear. The climax of this story is the realization that structure is not a limitation. It is a biological language. When life has shape, the body knows when to engage and when to recover. Stress ends. Repair begins. Time feels navigable instead of endless. The body does not need life to follow a rigid schedule. It needs life to be legible, to contain signals that distinguish one kind of time from another. The resolution is not to control every hour, but to restore edges. Clear starts, clear stops, moments that truly conclude. These signals allow biology to trust that effort will not continue indefinitely. The trust is not emotional, it is physiological, a state in which the systems responsible for repair receive permission to operate. Longevity thrives in lives with punctuation, days that end, roles that transition, seasons that close before the next begins. Without these markers, the body remains alert, guarding against a future that never settles. Modern life often celebrates fluidity, but fluid time confuses the nervous system. It erodes recovery and accelerates aging quietly, year after year. The celebration of fluidity is not wrong in every context, but when it becomes the organizing principle of an entire life, it removes the very markers that the body depends on to regulate itself. Fluidity without anchor points is not freedom. It is formlessness, and formlessness has a biological price that accumulates with each passing season. When life regains its shape, aging does not reverse dramatically. It softens, it slows, it becomes less aggressive, because in the end, the body does not need life to be easy. It needs life to make sense. Subscribe to join the journey.